Welcome back, and thank you for shopping with Snick TV. Next up is item number 117, and it's from our genderless hair care Genesis range. I know I use it every day, Rob. Do you? No, it's not. It's me, Johnny Fox, here with another Sniktcast, and this week, the one, the only. I say that there's actually several to be found, but the best Retro Rob available on YouTube and other places, though not as many as there used to be, but we've talked about that. Well, he's talked about that, and I'm not going to talk about that. We're not gonna, we are. This is the only metaverse we like. Retro Rob.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, the name's not very original, but I used to be Retro Mod Rob. I used to mod systems, and after a while, I stopped modding, and so I just kind of cut the mod out. So now we're just left with the Retro Rob.
That's absolutely fine by us. So retro, we mean video games. Well, you know, we're not the youngest of not the youngest of people to be found on social media. So retro most things.
Yeah.
But we'll concentrate on the video game side of things to start with. Like me, I think it's no secret to the people who already follow you. I mean, yeah, you like a bit of everything, but Sega boy back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first console I had.
So was that very a conscious decision on your part, or was that just a gift? And like, oh, okay, I've got one of these then.
I couldn't tell you. I just went in the store and I just liked the edginess of Sega. I don't know. I just bought. Yeah, I just went raw. I didn't even really recall seeing Super Nintendo at the time. I was so oblivious to it. So just jumped into Sega.
Yeah, that was it. I don't know. I'm not sure what the North American ad campaign was like. I imagine similar, if not the same as the European one. But yeah, that was it. The Sega just seemed, yeah, edgy
Yeah.
and just very now, very of the time, and just seemed somehow cooler and more rebellious. And while you played Mickey's Castle of Illusion, like like a really metal, leather jacket wearing cool people.
That was a little less edgy.
But I love that game.
Oh yeah,
that game.
oh it's fantastic. Yeah.
So the Genesis or Mega Drive, as we called it,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, Sega decided to do that. I mean, it works. They sold a hell of a lot of units over here as well. So I always thought when they did, I don't know if it was the most recent one or the one before that, the Terminator movie, and they did a Terminator Genesis. They misspelt it with a Y.
Oh really? I never noticed that.
Yeah, but I just thought if that comes out in the UK or Europe and they call it Terminator Mega Drive, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Mega Drive is a cool name though. I think it's plus it gives it that unique for that region, It's like your own.
Yeah.
It's not you're not lumped in with America. You have your own unique,
Yeah, but they didn't change the shape, of the system or anything. Just the name.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought there were some slight cosmetic differences, but not much,
Yeah.
but enough to make it unique. I think, for instance, the Mega Drive also had the red buttons, didn't it? The red,
Oh
whereas we
yeah.
didn't have that. So,
Yeah.
so some slight differences. I like to collect the mini systems, and I definitely have the European and the Japanese one too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I actually got my hands on a Japanese one. Not originally, but a little time later. I don't even know why I did. I think it was just some games that you could get that wouldn't play, or I could get earlier or cheaper, or it was just games. It was just collecting the games for some reason.
Sure.
It seemed like a good idea. funds allowed. I could get a second console that I already own, and now I have two. Clearly, which the parents don't understand,
Yeah.
but it had to be done. So, rambling on, you get two Sega boys together. This is what you get. But usually, I'm supposed to start with the bit where I say, "Tell the kids at home a bit about yourself and what you do." So, take a few minutes, promo yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I actually ran a huge Facebook page for a while since 2000 and like 2018, and I got up to almost 30,000 followers, and it was all retro gaming stuff. It was just gaming info, just ads, memes, just normal kind of page that you see on the internet. But one morning I woke up and Facebook took it away. They said it was violation of community standards, which I no warnings. I had no. They never gave me any warnings or anything, and so I still to this day don't know what the reason was besides that. So I took about a month off, and um, I had to figure out what I was gonna do. So I taught myself editing, and I decided to dive into YouTube. All my friends were like, "Just do YouTube, man. Do YouTube." So yeah, I've been doing that for about it'll be 5 months next month. So
Yeah, you know what? That's the only problem. The only problem that I've had, uh, and only Facebook has found it a problem. Nowhere else that I post. You remember you know, before Mark Wahlberg was a big movie star. I'm sure
yeah,
you remember a certain ad
I
campaign
do.
for underwear
Yeah,
that he did. So as I just post like celebrity birthdays and stuff as a kind of day to day grind, just something. So there's some content. Um, so it's Marky Mark of a man of my age. He'll always be Marky Mark to me.
yeah,
Um, so that was the pick I thought would be fun and nostalgic for people to see again and reminisce. And if the man himself was to maybe see it and be embarrassed or thought, maybe he'd find it a good laugh. I don't know. But I just thought that's the pick I ought to put up. They really didn't want me to do that for some reason. That's the only time I've had the kind of the tap on the shoulder.
oh wow,
Like,
it
we
was
can't post
flagged,
this.
huh?
It violates our terms and conditions. What does?
Yeah,
It was like an international fucking how times have changed.
yeah,
Like, it was on like 60-foot billboards, but I can't post it on Facebook.
yeah. It's a dying platform, anyways, and I'm kind of glad I moved away from it. I keep it for now, just for personal. My friends and stuff are on there, but I'm not using it anymore for anything else. I just, again, it's so hypocritical at this point and just dumb. So I've moved on. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
use this too. I have Instagram, but which is is also a meta platform. But again, that one doesn't. I haven't had any issues with it. I still use some Twitter, which is now X, which is weird. And then that's really about it, honestly. So getting word out for my channel anymore is just like there's a community page on your YouTube that you can use,
yeah.
and I'll advertise. Yeah,
Which I discovered
yeah,
last week.
yeah. So I use that
I'm so
too,
bad
but
at
other
doing
than
this.
that, yeah, I'm not good at it either.
I think as I was watching what I really like about your channel, I was watching a video. I don't think it was too old, fairly recent, only a few videos back. I think it was an Xbox video, and at some point you mentioned that someone had suggested that you should perhaps be more professional in your videos. So as you're just doing the voiceover and then letting the game footage speak, you swear that you're wearing a suit and tie at the time and hope it gets more views. I thought that was great.
That yeah, that guy he commented on two videos in a row, the same comment about I would get more viewers and my channel would be more successful if I was a little more professional. And I was asking my friends, I'm like, what? How can I be? It's YouTube. So so yeah, when I was narrating, I was t telling people that I was wearing a suit. Yeah, I like to add some funny little
Yeah,
dry humor. Yeah, it's a very chill channel though. There's no frills. I don't put in any special effects or
yeah.
it's just
You know
here's
that's the thing that I really wanted to do.
yeah.
You know, like I think when most of us do anything, but a part of it is seeing other people do stuff and thinking I could do that, or
Yeah.
I could do better than that. And the thing that kind of bugs me on YouTube in more recent times is everything's so professional that
Hmm.
I almost find it off putting. Like
Right.
everything's a TV show. Everything's cut, multi-angled, and incredibly well lit. And heaven forbid you put the light in the wrong place and throw a shadow on the wall. And like when I thought about starting, you do a bit of research and I'm reading stuff, and I'm like, fuck no. It's me talking shit about music and video games. That's all it is. There's
Yeah,
no
no.
need to go out and spend that kind of money and then put that much effort in.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean I put
No.
a lot of effort in. I think about what I'm going to say
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot of work.
But
I mean,
like,
there's a lot of work in editing and stuff. When I put my videos
yeah,
together, they do take some time. Like the video that's coming out tomorrow took me like 3 days. Um, but you wouldn't know it when you watch it because again, I don't like you said, I don't need the multi-camera. My goal for the channel is that one person will see it and they'll find a new game and
yeah,
that's it. That's my goal. So, and if that and that's I get that, man, then that's a success, you know? So, so and people like it. And I get a lot of compliments all the time, man. And this isn't a brag or anything, but people are like,
no,
man, they like the chill vibe. They like the fact that they're getting info, they're getting some
yeah,
humor, and they
yeah,
can see some footage, and then they can and then bounce. They can just leave and
yeah.
So, and I don't do
It's
the
great. It's like, and the other main thing was, like, uh, people only want short form content.
yeah,
Keep your videos small, and I'm like, it takes me 10 minutes to say hello. I'm like, I'm just that. That's just how I roll. It's just who I am. Like
yeah,
all,
yeah. The
all the
attention
videos,
span.
most of the
I'm
time
not
I
sure.
do this.
I'm
It's
not sure over
pretty much an
there.
hour minimum. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the attention span here in America, I'm not sure over there, but is dwindling by the day here. And it's hard to put out videos anymore beyond 15 minutes. And because you'll see when you look at the analytics that the average
Yeah,
view time just drops because people are either fast forwarding or no one cares anymore, man. Like it's not like it used to be where it's like a 15-minute video would be like, "Oh man, that's it." Now people are like, "Oh, 15 minutes?" Like,
yeah. But I'm doing this for me.
me too. Yeah,
I'm doing this for me.
same.
And like you said, if so much as one person actually pays a bit of attention and thinks, "Oh, that was cool,"
Yeah.
then
Yep.
that's great, and I appreciate that so much.
Mm,
But it's just
yeah.
fun. It's just a bit of fun for me. It's something to do. It's cool to meet new people. I like I like talking. Maybe I like the sound of my own voice. I don't know, but I like doing this, and I've met some really. I say met in that very 21st century way that I've met so many people that I've never met.
Yeah.
But I hope I will at some point. It'd be nice to do it in real life. But it's just been really cool, and hopefully, some people are watching. Yeah, like I say, I get some positive feedback mainly, so it's all good. It's all good. So, meanwhile, back to the video games. Yeah, so the 90s, the Genesis, the Mega Drive, Sega. So yeah, give me just a few favorite games off the top of your head. I know there's so many, but
Yeah. I picked some weird choices when I first got the Genesis. The Genesis, when I got into it, I got the Model 2, so I was behind already. I wasn't first to get like when Genesis first came out. I was 16. I was working, so I had my own money, and the two games I started with was Ren and Stimpy. Stimpy's Invention, and then Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Those were my first two games. There were so many great choices out there, and I went with Ren and Stimpy. So, um, and then eventually, though, I evolved. I did get into Sonic a little bit. I love Gunstar Heroes, Streets of Rage. My tastes were really at that time were arcade style beat 'em up games, and the Genesis was pumping out a lot.
Oh, sorry, I lost you on my end for a minute there.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was just saying that arcade style games and the Genesis was just all about that back then. So I was definitely trying to get that arcade feel at home.
Yeah,
And there was just something about that Genesis sound. It sounded way better, I thought, than the other consoles. Um,
yeah, yeah. A lot of the I mean, you mentioned Streets of Rage. That's a fantastic soundtrack. Streets of Rage 2,
mm,
even more so. I actually listened to at least two or three tracks from that on a fairly regular basis.
yeah,
It's um, it's good stuff. Like,
my daughter, when she was 11, she beat Streets of Rage 2 with me on the Genesis. I thought that was a fantastic moment for me.
yeah, yeah. It was all the sort of that whole like sort of the side scrolling sort of beat 'em up genre. Streets of Rage, Final Fight. Um, love that, of course. Golden Axe, and we've got to mention the Turtles.
Oh yeah,
The Turtles, a whole bunch of Turtles games of pretty decent quality. It's been some not so hot ones, but those certainly back in the day, really class titles, especially the arcade.
oh
That
yeah,
that that
yeah,
that Turtles arcade, that was the one. I mean, here, like in my town, we didn't have an arcade. It wasn't a thing I could do on a weekend or after school or whatever. Um, the arcades were situated, but like coastal towns, sort of tend to have them, more tourist kind of spots. So when we go on holiday, be it a day trip or a week, that's when I could get in the arcades. And that was the thing. It was also, I don't know if it's a thing they did on purpose, but it seemed to be like the loudest machine, that theme tune cranking out. You'd run it.
oh
If there'd be several arcades like along a high street, and it'd just
yeah.
be just running in, you just take 10 seconds just to hear it. No, try the next one. Try the next one. They've got turtles, and then in, and that's lots of coins, lots of money lost. I was
Yeah, you can't.
so bad at it. I was so bad at it. It was
Yeah,
so good to be able to get it at home and get good because I loved it so much, but I was so bad at it.
yeah, it's much better if you have friends, especially at the arcade for sure. But either way, it's a quarter eater. It's gonna take some quarters.
Yeah. So you so you skip the 8-bit then,
I,
the Master System, the NES.
yeah, that was because we didn't really have the means for consoles when I was growing up. We didn't have the money. But my folks did get me a Game Boy when I was 12, and it meant the world to me. So that's why my when I had the Facebook page, and currently you'll see what looks kind of like a Game Boy in my symbol. The Game Boy means a lot to me, so it was a symbol of my old page, and that's why it's kind of incorporated into the YouTube channel a little.
Yeah, I missed the Game Boy. I had the Game Gear,
Oh,
but
nice.
I never actually got the game. I went my my journey was the really old stuff, the Atari, whatever, from my older brother. But then my game journey was a hell of a lot of time on the Commodore 64,
Okay.
and I stuck with that and bypassed like the Master System and the NES, and then went Mega Drive and been console since. Went from Sega to Xbox. It seemed like a natural thing to do.
Yeah. My dad did bring home the Pong console when we were younger. I do remember that, and it was a long wood grain panel with the
Yeah.
built-in knobs on the end, and it had like 10 games on it, like hockey, tennis, but it was all just Pong. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and even my grandfather, I remember how amazed he was. He was like, "What sorcery is this on TV?"
Yeah.
And I asked my dad a while ago because that memory came up. I was like, "Why did you even bring that home?" And he just like, "I thought it was cool." But then we never got another console after that. So I always thought that was interesting that he
Yeah.
settled for Pong. Like Pong was enough futuristic gaming for my dad.
I, yeah. I don't. I'm still. It's a thing. I, I, I'll never not love the old school stuff, and I always go back to it. And I like when I see like new sort of like the indie developers, and they produce these games that are very much like love letters to certain eras or certain genres
Oh yeah,
from back in the day. There's been some great stuff, but I really do like you know new games. I still feel sort of an excitement of like as the tech advances and everything, seeing what we can do now, and I like to still never feel quite as blown away by anything as I did, back in the day. It doesn't seem
yeah.
quite as tremendous a leap,
I'm
but
on the fence with modern gaming. I think we're going it's a weird direction how back in the day we didn't have the great graphics, but we had the amazing stories.
mm,
Now I feel like we have the amazing graphics, but very subpar stories right now. So it's,
yeah, I mean that was the thing I certainly started doing like a while ago. I would have said I used to play games for the challenge, to chase that high score or to just outright beat the game, to complete the
yep,
game, beat the final boss or whatever. And and in more modern times, I'd play games for the story, like an interactive movie. I'm more interested in what's going to happen next, and I get invested in the characters and exploring the world. But
sure.
yeah, there's definitely yeah, it definitely seems to have took a bit of a dive in
Yeah,
that department, which I think is bringing me back a little bit to remembering the good old days of just it seems more a happier, simpler time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, modern games, I a couple ones that I've been playing. I tried to get into that Starfield, and I was just like, it's a beautiful game. It is just fantastic looking, but dude, it's like work. It's a job, man. That you're literally you have a job in space basically is
Yeah,
all it is, and then you've got some exploration here and there, but I was not liking that. I just nowadays retro's still good for me. Just quick pick up and play. I'm really digging the Evercade a lot right now, honestly. I know I think it's quite popular overseas more than it is in America,
yeah,
especially in the UK area because my games come out of the UK when I order them. So, um, but the simplicity of having these multi carts with 20 fantastic games on it and just putting it in and turning it on and going right to playing has been a real favorite of mine lately. So,
yeah. I mean, it's definitely true that every for all the all the big hype of the latest Halo or whatever, and that's great. But when I see those like collections, as soon as you see like a Genesis collection or it'd be the Capcom arcade cabinet and things like that on Xbox, it's strange how they're definitely like top of the list come payday. I keep like buying games I've already must have bought 5, 6 times or something over the years on different formats on different systems.
yeah,
Um,
but we still
but
buy them.
yeah, I like yeah, Baldur's Gate 3. But if they release Wonder Boy, in Dragon's Lair again, I'm probably gonna get it again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because collections are nice because you don't have to thumb through all your games and constantly change out games to play,
Yeah, but
which is what,
what I do
yeah.
what what I do with them though is just stare at the list of classic games and feel somewhat overwhelmed and not to try and pick which one I'd like to play for an hour or two.
Oh man,
But
yeah,
when I
yeah, we,
then like I haven't actually got time to play. That there's chores that need doing. The hour that I had
yeah.
that I could get some gaming in, I spent trying to decide which one to play.
Oh, dude, I know it's the worst now because we're so spoiled. It's like with television, with so many channels, we're trying to land on that one channel, and
Yeah,
like same with games. We're just sitting there. I know, I grapple with it too. I try to make I what I do now is I make a list of 10 games I want to beat, and then I start with that number one game. I try to stick with it every day until I beat it, and that way it keeps me focused because I have, like everyone, a backlog, right? It's a real thing,
yeah,
and we the more games we keep picking up at fairs or flea markets or whatever you guys go to, um it just keeps adding up. So it's like dang, and you come home and of course you want to jump right into it because you just brought it home, but you're like,
yeah,
nope, you said, man, you said you were gonna stick to those other games. So
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
I've had to do that. Um, I started doing that very similar system. I did it as much in order to justify the next purchase. That if I've actually beat these games, then I've definitely had the money's worth and they're done, and I can put them to one side. I might not have done like every last thing you can do,
Right.
every bonus level, or but I'll play the main game, the main
Mm.
story continuity or whatever. But at least like complete the main part of the game, and then you can like have a clear conscience about
Yeah,
buying some more.
that's good.
So
That's a good
I did it
strategy.
more to kind of try and stop a few somewhat frivolous purchases of games that I didn't really. Well, games that I certainly maybe could have waited till they were on sale instead of rushing out and getting because I didn't really want them that badly, you
Yeah,
know. But
that's what I do too.
just no
Sales, man. Wait,
different,
wait for the sales.
yeah, no different as a grown ass man than as a kid. If friends are getting it and playing it, I feel like I don't want to miss out on that conversation sometimes. And so like, yeah, I'm maybe not quite as interested, and yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get it, so we can all be playing it. It's not even a multiplayer game, but you want to be playing it at the same time, so the conversation is there and hang out.
right,
So,
right. Yeah,
yeah, still do that.
yeah. No, that's a good way to go. I'm all for that.
Uh, ah, yeah. So what was it like for you? So as a gamer, so 16-year-old Rob looking for his next Genesis purchase. So what was that like for you? For the as a gamer, as a gamer boy, were you? Is it like was it actually kind of cool and easy to find friends, or were you like the nerd and shunned it all? Or
Uh, I don't know. I was so focused on work when I was younger. I started working when I was 13, actually. You here in the States, if you have a signed paper from your school and your parents, you could start working at 13 back in the day. And so like I immediately wanted to just have make money, and I moved out right at like 17. So I've learned to live on my own right off the bat. So having friends really has never been a thing for me. And then so no one really knew I was a gamer anyways, you know what I mean? So but then gaming stopped for me for a while because you hit your 20s and then it's all about the ladies and drinking and partying and then before you know it, I was off into the military, and so I didn't pick back up gaming again until like 2001, 2002, around there. So yeah, my gaming was kind of all over the place for a while. I will say though, when I was home though, when I was 16 through 18-ish, that was the best time of gaming in my opinion. That's when you had the Jaguar was out, the Dreamcast was out. It was all these consoles, the 3DO, advertising was amazing. The stores were incredible. Stores were competing with other stores to have bigger and better displays. There was kiosks. You had game CDs that you could like sample discs you could take home.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
or they were putting sample discs in magazines. I mean, games and gaming was like it was amazing back then, and now it's just so robotic and sterile. It's just I don't know. It's just nothing's ever going to be like that again. So
No, no, no. It is. I think it is kind if you read about this stuff online, and it does get referred to. I think as like the golden age of gaming.
yeah,
Once like from the Sega Nintendo
yeah,
wars up to
yeah,
like those sort of like early 2000s, like the first decade of the 2000s or so, and then then it becomes like it's bigger than it's ever been. Like the amount of bank it makes. This is like multi-billion-dollar business, and in some ways, maybe that's part of the problem. With that amount of money on the line, how much it costs to make these huge AAA games,
yeah,
and they're hiring like Hollywood directors and Hollywood actors, not even just to do the voice acting
yeah,
anymore, but they're having their whole faces represented within the game. So it is that guy is in the game. Idris
yeah,
Elba or whoever does play this character just like a movie, which is somewhat unnecessary. If that's adding on to the cost to the customer that I've got to pay, for this actor, if the game would have been so much cheaper just to create a character, as games have been doing, forever up to this point, you know,
yeah.
if that's part of what's making, my new game $70 as opposed to 40 that it was like only sort of 18 months ago.
Yeah, and you're not even going to get a physical release anymore pretty soon.
Yeah,
So on top of that, you're just going to have this digital game that you hope that you'll still have a year from now.
yeah, the digital game, and they'll and they'll try and get you to pay extra and pre-order for a digital soundtrack. Like,
Yeah, basically,
why
yeah.
doesn't the soundtrack play when I'm playing the game? Why? That's
The worst
ridiculous.
ones are the physical installs that you get where you're just literally just buying the disc and you just put the disc in it, and at that point the disc is useless.
Yeah,
It's like why even go through all that, you know? It just feels so empty.
yeah. I mean, I used to have to travel. I used to have to like get the bus on a train, like a good sort of half-hour journey to the nearest sort of game store from my
Oh
tiny,
wow.
tiny pissant little town
Yeah.
that I grew up in. So fondling that case, that box, examining every inch, checking out like the artwork on the front, the
The
reading the blurb on
manual.
the back
Yeah.
like a million times,
Yeah.
you know, uh,
Yeah.
analyzing every pixel of the screenshots and trying to fantasize about what that's going to look like when it
That's
moves,
the
on
best.
TV and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best. Yeah. We don't have that anymore either.
No.
That's why I said it's so weird to go into a game store. I mean, I do like the older mom and pop stores because you still have that
Yeah.
feel, you know. But now we already know what we're looking for, what we're looking at, you know. So it's kind of like I don't know. Doesn't quite replace the back in the day, but it's close.
Yeah. It is a thing. I miss. It just doesn't feel the same. Obviously, you boot up your system and you go to the digital store, or you're scrolling on Amazon or whatever. It's just not the same when it's in store, looking at the shelf, but you're just having the money, knowing that I can get a new game this month. I have the means,
Mhm.
but you don't really know what you want. You'll know it when you see it.
Right,
And,
right.
and I'm just looking maybe, and because maybe there's nothing new in
What
particular, out at the
what
time you've
were
got the cash. So it's just what did I miss? What did I not get? The last time
yeah.
with the influx of games, and it's not the same. Just looking at the digital store, it just doesn't. I feel like there's things I probably would get if they were on a shelf,
What were your
but somehow it just didn't
rental
have the same
stores?
appeal.
What were your rental stores like over there back then? Were rental stores like they were for us? It was like it was key because we could check out a game and then know if it was
Yeah,
gonna, if we're gonna want
it
it.
it like the video stores started doing
Yeah.
uh, games. It creeped in. I don't think it was much of a thing. I don't think it took off particularly. I
Oh,
know, well, at least my local ones. I mean, I'm like up north, where it's just cold and rainy, and nobody particularly has any money. I don't know if it's different in London or in the capital or anything. But for us, they were there. There was a small selection. There might be, if we were lucky, I think there was maybe like 10 sort of like maybe 10 Sega games, 10
oh
games
wow.
or so at best, and they'd be like one or two of like the very latest releases, and then there'd be kind of trash. like, mm. but
It's like some
what we had
games.
was what we did have was that there was a lot of stores and a lot of like market stalls um, did really good sort of trade-ins, like really good value trade-ins. So I couldn't such try before I bought, but if I knew I was done with this game, I mean, maybe I regret. Maybe if I still had that game in its box, I could pay my mortgage off with it right now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm done with it, and yeah, they're really good. They maybe like a lot of places gave games like a color coded system, and it'd be like the same color for the same color would just be free. You could just
Okay.
you could just swap it, just take the other one home, and for the color that was supposedly above it, it might cost a little bit. The other color a little bit more, but yeah, essentially, I was getting games for peanuts or even free.
Oh,
And
nice. Okay.
just the little bit of risk of, are you really done with this one? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that,
Nice.
so yeah, so I probably didn't miss a great deal. A lot of which I wish I still had.
Yeah.
Uh,
Same.
I mean, I don't have the room, and I haven't really got anything on display. I haven't got a little room like yours at all. I wish I did. Everything's sort of boxed up and storaged away, and it's kind of sad, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
It comes out, it dusts off, and it still works every now and
Yeah.
again, so it's good.
Yeah.
So do you so yeah, so I mentioned arcades. So was the arcade was the stand up out the arcades, was that a thing? Is that
Yeah.
right?
My
Like I
brother and
say,
I,
it wasn't really an
we
option for me, but was that a thing
yeah.
for you?
Yeah, there was arcades by us growing up, and my brother and I for sure. If we had some quarters, that's where we'd be. That's where we would learn about most of the games, that were going to come out at some
Yeah,
point. Neo Geo, Sega Genesis, all those games were basically their starts were in the arcade,
yeah,
and even some Nintendo ones. So I've always preferred arcade games actually over console games, just because I love the larger
mm.
sprites and the sound and like they're just bigger pieces of great art to me. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I favor them. I have a few arcades here, but they're just the arcade one-ups.
Mm.
But I do enjoy having them in here just to have that arcade feel, And my kids, they like it too. They're always trying to erase all my scores, man.
That's just such a simple pleasure.
Yeah,
To do that to someone is
yeah. To get that top score.
yeah. And anyone who hasn't done that, anyone who hasn't had the pleasure to do that to a we call them friends,
Right.
rivals,
Yeah.
um, assholes. Anyone, yeah, if you haven't done that, if you haven't, the thrill of the chase in the first place, and then pulling it off, getting that, even if it's not the top score, just like I said, just beating that guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great feeling.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Because
it
you mean you're
was enough.
yeah. You don't know how many people have played that before you either. And so to see the score and how high it is, and for you to dethrone that person out of who knows how many other people have tried, and
Yeah.
you're that top person. I think it's a cool feeling, but I don't know. So,
Yeah, I used to my real top score thing is pinball.
oh, okay.
Yeah, given half a chance, I really like pinball. I like video game pinball.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them. Some are terrible. It depends. Sometimes it's all about physics.
Yep.
With a pinball game, sometimes you can also there's like more arcadey games, and there's more like simulator kind of games, and I do like both.
Okay.
I'm very. It's hard to describe. I could put one on, and I could just instantly go, nope. I can put another one on, and I'll be there for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hit or miss with them too, but pinballs are a lot of those games are pretty fun though. They're good time passers when you just want to just do something just to relax gaming. There's like relax gaming and then there's like intense gaming.
Yeah,
So, nighttime for me is like the relaxed gaming. I don't want to be all fired up at night, at like 10 o'clock at night. So, so yeah.
yeah. As a Sega boy, I've got to give a shout out to the Sonic Spinball.
Yeah. It
I
was
love that game so
yeah.
much. That gets played. That gets played a few times a year. I find that in one format or another, I'll put that on. Whether I've got it on the Game Gear, I've still got my Mega Drive. I've got it on that, and I've got it on the Xbox. So one way or another, it finds itself played several times a year.
Yeah. It was an interesting thing that Sega did with that too. They're just trying out something new, see how it would take. It got pretty mixed reviews here in the
Yeah,
States, but for the most part, it's pretty well liked. Most for the most part. So,
yeah,
I
I thought
enjoy
it
it for
was
what
great.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially my that I made like that. I mean, I'm playing it to this day. But the real like fond memories that I have are the Game Gear version. That was the game I think I played most. Like just like just chill,
Mhm.
just chill. And
Yeah.
something well, if a grown up stuff's happening and I'm not interested, and I'd be in the armchair in the corner with the either headphones in or with the sound off, and just that's the game you probably find me playing.
Man, dude, you would never guess in a million years what my most played Game Gear game was. It was a Zoop. It's a puzzle game.
Oh
You have the triangle colors and you have to shoot them into and I was obsessed with that
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I played it for hours on end, man. Yeah, when I tell people that, most people don't even know what it is. They're like, "What the hell is that, man?"
Yeah.
Zoot. Yeah, that was my most played Sega Game Gear game. I had a lot of games, but that one was like, I would always seem to be on the go with it, and then so that was the one I would just play it, because it would just take me out of whatever element I was in at the moment.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I love the Game Gear. It was such a man. It was such a step up from the Game Boy. Like, and it was light years ahead. So was the Lynx. I had the Atari Lynx also, and I was just like, man, this is the future. We'll never get any better than this. And now here we are with all these modern IPS screens and
Yeah,
yeah.
like the Lynx, and we briefly mentioned the Jaguar. Jaguar, see,
Hmm.
what Jaguar
Yeah,
for
Jaguar.
English people. Jaguar. I mean, what went wrong? What went wrong with the Jaguar? I thought it was a fantastic piece of hardware. If you look at the specs,
Yeah.
I mean, these things live or die on the games. That's fair to say. But why developers weren't developing for it, or how it didn't get the games, I have no idea, because it was a great bit of kit.
I just had this discussion this morning. So Atari, first of all, is always notoriously bad with marketing and advertising. They also always came in at really high price points for their items. The Jaguar failed because with developers because of the two separate chips that were in there. Both chips are referred to as Tom and Jerry from like the cartoon, but the one chip was for audio and the other chip was for graphics.
Ah,
And so that complicated things for the developers. And another reason why it's also hard to emulate when people try to emulate Jaguar games, they'll either get really good graphics and no sound, or they'll get really good sound and choppy graphics because of those two chips. So that really hurt their system, and that's what made them say they were a 64-bit system, is because they were using two 32-bit chips. So it really was a 32-bit system.
Yeah.
Uh, so their advertising with "do the math" kind of came back and bit them in the ass, because people then did the math and go,
Oh,
hold on, guys. Um, so yeah, so that was a so eventually and then they came out at a time when they were competing with these next gen consoles that were just dynamite powerhouses, workhorses, like the original Xbox.
yeah.
Dude, that thing's literally a computer. It's a computer, man. And there's no way the Jaguar was going to compete with something like that. So it failed. It failed, and again, marketing also was not helping them either. I mean, it was terrible marketing, and then eventually the Jaguar, I remember, was as low as $25. You could get a Jaguar for $25,
Wow.
like in new in box, man. There's still places in California where Atari was based out of, factories and stuff that still have an abundance of box Jaguars that they don't. They're just trying to sell online at
Well,
this
I mean,
point.
well, I guess they've only got themselves to blame then, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of a shame.
it
I
is.
think if anybody asks, like I said, self-confessed like Sega boy, loud and proud, but I just Atari, being what they are, being that legacy, being the no, I say Pong being the start of it all. I guess we all agree on that. But then, yeah, Atari doing what they did, really making it sort of mainstream
Hmm.
entertainment
Yeah,
so much.
it,
It
it,
always
it
seems just a little sad that they couldn't keep it going or couldn't make some big comeback. When you think that, like with the dominance of Sega and Nintendo, then when Sony could step in out of the blue, having never done it before,
yeah,
and do what they did with PlayStation, and then Microsoft, who don't do it, come in and do what they've done with Xbox, and now they've been dominant for a few decades.
oh yeah,
It's kind of, and Sega and Nintendo are like hanging in there, and Sega software based, still knocking out some good stuff, I think.
hmm
But I always still think I can't help it if you have the big like gaming conventions like E3, and I mean, I always feel like Atari make that a comeback announcement, and it's always kind of rumored and teased as if that they're going to, like, every year, and it
yeah,
never really quite happens. Like maybe they do some kind of mini version with like there's a it's a 2600 with like every game ever made on it, and
yeah. That's all they're
they,
doing these days.
they
They're
don't
just
actually bring up if they were to step up and attempt to compete with the big boys in some way. It's like same with Sega. If they were to get back in the hardware market, you'd have my attention. Don't know if you'd have my money, but you'd have my attention. I'd be checking it out. I'd be
mm, I,
looking into it.
I think
And
I
it'd
think
give me
Sega's
something to think about. I wouldn't just be like,
yeah,
okay, when's the next Xbox out? Right, that's mine. Okay. I'd be going, hang on, let's have a look at
yeah.
this Sega system. And,
I
or this Atari system. I'd stop and have a look at it. I certainly would.
yeah. I think Sega's cooking something up in the background here. They've got their titles that are coming out here. They're re-releasing all these great titles from the past, like Jet Set Radio, and
Yeah.
I think they're cooking up something though. I think from the rumors I've heard and read, I have a feeling that they're going to come out with some type of console soon. Um, uh, I just don't know what it's going to be at, or who it's going to be aimed at, and I don't know if it's going to be just like a multi-purpose retro emulator style
Yeah.
console or something. But they're definitely working on something. They've been very with their posts and stuff. They've been hinting quite a bit. And I think this release of games coming first is just going to be the start of it. So I'm fingers crossed. We'll see how well the re-release of these games are, and we're definitely due for a new Jet Set Radio. So and to see a new modern Jet Set Radio come out is really exciting. So
Yeah, and I was going to bring these up particularly. I think it's like Jet Set, Crazy Taxi,
yeah,
Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage that I'm aware of. Probably,
yep,
like you said, more to follow. but I think they're the four that they're really pushing anyway. I think they're like the not
Yeah.
launch titles, but of this generation. I mean, how do would you rather have like a new game than remakes? Like we've got the old games, and if you're into that, then that's great. I mean, they're going to be like practically different games. Like
Right.
when you take Streets of Rage and you put it in the whole 3D, it changes the dynamic entirely. It's going to be a completely different game
Yeah.
in all
Yeah.
but name and the same characters. There's you're going to tell it. You're going to know it's Streets of Rage, but it's going to play very, very, very differently, isn't it? Um,
Sure.
so I think can like it's really is a new game if you do it if you go that far with a remake rather than just like polish it up a little bit. Like some it's like just you know give it a bit of a coat of paint, make the colors a bit brighter, maybe take some of the blurry edges off, and that's about it.
Yeah, but the
And
beauty with
other,
Sega though, is they have it in them though. Like you know that they're already making games anyway. So for them to come out with new games now, should they have a dedicated system, the potential is still there. Whereas Atari, once they came out with that VCS, you already knew Atari was not going to come back with, you know what I mean? They had already made their decision what Atari wanted to be. Whereas I think Sega's still saying, "Hey, we can still be Sega." So we'll see though. I don't know. I'm just a hopeful, optimistic fan who may just be talking out of his ass right now. But
I mean, you can maybe correct me on this. I'm sure I've like heard or read somewhere once upon a time that the 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 PlayStation, the PS1, the blueprints, the specs for that were at some point originally pitched to Sega,
that was
and they
Nintendo,
didn't
and
want it or didn't like it. They couldn't come to
it was
terms or
it
whatever,
was
and then the
Nintendo.
rest is history.
Yeah, no, Nintendo was gonna
Oh,
merge with Sony. So the original PlayStation was gonna be a Nintendo, a Nintendo CD-based system, but there was a falling out between both Sony and Nintendo. The presidents of each were it was a money issue. Who was going to get the money out of it? And of course, money being the root of all evil at times. That's where the divide was. Nintendo was afraid that Sony would get too much of the profit. Nintendo wanted more of the profit. Sony said, "No, this is ours." So Sony walked away from it, and then
yeah.
that's how we got the PlayStation.
Right. I dare see. I heard it flipped.
If you
I heard it flipped. I heard it
if
taken.
you go online and
Yeah.
look, you can still see the prototype systems out there. There's three or four working prototype systems. One's in a museum that I know of, but there's a couple on tour that people take around to game expos and stuff and show an actual working system. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, yeah. Just got me train of thought thinking. How we're still. I do. I agree. I'm all for physical media, but then I just got thinking just how we're still using a CD based system. I mean, except for the installation.
Yeah.
but when I'm thinking, man, I mean, maybe I was spoiled to have had the Sega CD back in the day, but I feel like I've actually been doing that for an awfully long time. I mean, I know people who almost think like it didn't exist until PlayStation.
Mm.
It was like, no, I was doing that for some time,
Oh yeah.
and it was really good. I really liked my Sega CD. I really did.
Same.
Um,
Yep. Yeah, I got mine when since I had the Model 2 Genesis, I got the Model 2 Sega CD, and I got it at a time when Sega had reduced it to on sale at $99. So I got it $99 with the pack-in Tomcat Alley, the fighter jet game,
yeah, yeah,
and FMV was so dominant back then. Everything was FMV.
yeah. Yeah, Night Trap.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
that was
Did you
terrible. I mean,
Did you play the remaster yet of it? Uh,
no, no,
oh,
no.
okay.
I saw that it happened. It's hmm,
It's It's nice, I guess. I don't know. It's there if you want to see it cleaned up.
Yeah,
So yeah, because everything back then was so gritty. Yeah. Uh,
it was. So do you have a do you do the Dreamcast
I
much?
did. It's
Yeah,
probably my top in my top three favorite consoles, Dreamcast.
my my Dreamcast memory is uh, playing House of the Dead
Hmm.
with the light guns, playing it in two player by myself,
Oh, you were
dual
dueling.
wielding
Oh wow.
John Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do that. Even with friends around, we used to take turns and still do it.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Still dual
Yeah.
wielding.
Yeah, no, I remember I was in line for one on 99.99. So, I was the most it's the first time I've waited in line for a console. Um, and I was just blown away by it, and it's so sad that it died like 2 years
Yeah,
later. But then it was born out of the ashes again in the form of the Microsoft Xbox. So,
yeah,
a lot of
pretty much.
yeah, if you look on the original Dreamcast, you'll see the Microsoft CE
CE.
symbol on the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so it was a no-brainer to see all those Sega titles go right to the Xbox when the Xbox came out. Xbox is loaded with. I did a video, matter of fact, Sega on the Xbox, and I covered like 10 solid Xbox, Sega titles that were on there. And there's more than just 10 though. I could
oh,
probably do a part two.
yeah.
So for us Sega boys and for us mourning the loss of Dreamcast. We had our Xbox to cry
Yeah,
into.
yeah, the Saturn not so much.
Mm,
Uh,
I know. I
but
can't believe that one, man. I really was all in on that one too. I bought that one when it came out.
yeah,
And Daytona is still my favorite Saturn game of all time.
well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't without some good titles, but
No,
yeah,
it's got a great amount of titles for sure. Yeah. So yeah, Sega though, that's another thing, man. They were also bad at their advertising was terrible for the Dreamcast too. They didn't do anything for the Dreamcast. The 99.99 was like their big thing, and then and they just thought that was enough, and
yeah,
they just thought. But Sega fans were so scorned after the whole 32X and Saturn debacle that they were like, screw Sega, man, we're not giving them another chance. And so when the
yeah.
Dreamcast came out, that nobody wanted in on it. So 2 years later, it failed because it just didn't have the support. You know, I'll have no fury like a Sega boy scorned. So
Yeah,
you know about that, right? The 32X and how like Sega of America was pushing the 32X and they went all
yeah,
in on it. They spent so much money on that thing, and Sega of Japan was like, "No, we told you we're going with the Saturn." And so both weren't communicating. And so when the Saturn came out, parents were like, "What the hell is this, man? We just bought our kids these $139 Sega 32Xs that just came out." Because that's what it retailed at when it came out. It was 139.99, and it was a price point that was half of the Saturn, and so they thought more Americans would buy it because of that. And then when the Saturn came out, I think at like 299, people were like, "No, we just spent 140. Why would we spend our 300?" Oh man, it was a mess.
yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. So I, I say this just quickly. I've been saying for a while now. Uh, we'll just segue a little bit into movies, but we're going to keep it gaming because I've been saying for a while now that the video game adaptations of movies, that's the next big trend fad for Hollywood. That's
Sure.
like we've already had some,
Yep.
but like we did with the superhero movies, where we had plenty of superhero movies and TV shows before how huge it got with the MCU and all that great stuff. But there was plenty of superhero movies before Iron Man, kids. If you're old enough to remember, there was plenty. Weren't necessarily that great, but there was plenty. There has been a fair amount of video game movies attempted.
Yeah.
Some have been okay.
Doom.
Some have been utter garbage. But I think that's the next vein that they're going to be mining. Um, Sadly, instead of taking original scripts from fantastic writers that are working their ass off, writing, creating worlds and characters and stories, let's just do Bioshock because it's already there, and then fuck it up by doing it differently, even though the whole point was it's already there and it's easy,
I hope they
or
won't
whatever
mess
they're going to
that up.
do.
Yeah.
But I think that's, they keep doing. There's one here, there's one there, and it just takes
Yeah.
that one that's done well, that one that's a huge success. I mean, there's the Fallout TV show seems to be universally beloved right now. That could be the launch pad. A gaming, a live action gaming thing that works that everybody likes. That's going to set the ball rolling. Everybody's going to be looking for the next Fallout.
Oh yeah.
That could be the start of it.
Yeah,
We're going
absolutely.
to see more and more.
Yeah. Even with The Last of Us that came out, that was
Yeah.
The Last of Us started it, and then now with Fallout, Halo, not Halo's still kind of. I think the jury's out on that one still. Some people are kind of liking it, other people are not liking it. I haven't gotten past the third episode of the first season yet. I'm trying to watch it, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. I feel
Uh,
like I'm watching Halo because
because
I'm
it's
because
Halo.
because I'm me. I feel like my boy like wants nothing to do with it,
Yeah,
and it's like I'm the Halo guy, but but he's kind of seemingly like more passionate about oh they've got this wrong and that wrong, that shouldn't be like that. I'm like, well, it's its own thing. It's just inspired by. It's just a
right.
version of Halo. It's not an exact retelling of the story that we know. It's this other thing that's similar.
Yeah,
I don't want similar.
yeah,
Either just leave me alone to play the games or make the games into a movie. I don't want somewhere in between,
yeah,
But
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I'd keep, it's like, because it's one of those shows, I think, when it's good, it's good. It's just waiting for those moments to drop. It's one of those like, "Ugh, why do I do this?
yeah,
What am I doing?"
yeah,
But the next week it's like, this is why I do this.
right. Yeah,
And then you're back to why do I keep watching this? It's
yeah,
like, yeah, I'll keep going. I'm much the same with Star Wars stuff. It's Star Wars, so I have to participate. Says I'm enjoying it all that much of late, but like I have to do it.
yeah. I think that keeping it with just being shows right now is going to keep everyone's attention. I don't foresee seeing any more movies per se, but because these TV shows now are basically like little movies,
Yeah,
the production value on them and everything. I could see the future for that for sure. The question though would be, what would be the next big game series? I mean, they've already tried Resident Evil as a movie, but would Resident Evil make a great TV series? Maybe, because then you could
uh, they
focus more on it, more attention on it.
they got they got one season and it got axed.
Oh, really? It
Resident,
actually came
yeah,
out?
and it wasn't very
Oh,
good.
I never even heard of
Not
it.
not just from a gaming point of view, or just like if you like zombies,
Yeah,
if you're just a zombie fan or a bit of a sci-fi
yeah,
fan,
yeah,
it was just pretty bad. It was just pretty
yeah.
badly made, badly scripted, badly acted. It was just pretty bad. So, but that's a franchise that's not going to die. They're going to keep coming back to it. The games are still
Sure.
being successful, so they
Oh, yeah.
know the fan base is out there. Um, so it's going to keep happening. I think they like the animated, so straight to DVD or probably just straight to digital now stuff. I think that still does pretty well. So that's going to be around. But yeah, I think gaming is. So I was going to ask, is there a video game franchise? Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to nail it and get it right. A video game franchise that you'd love to see on the big screen, and is there one that you just hope that they just stay away from? Just please, God, don't touch that.
Uh,
Is anything
um,
sacred to you in that way?
If you're saying as like a movie or a show or either
Well,
or,
either or, yeah.
um, I'd love to see something done with the whole Gears of War storyline. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
my son and I we sat through every game together, and I'd love nothing more than to go see something like that with him. You know, that would be great.
That's a Batista. Batista wants that. Batista's been trying to do that. Batista's been cosplaying up in the armor and everything and going, look how easy it is. I'm
Yeah.
already here.
Oh, they could totally do it. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I know the fan base is there, but I don't know. But yeah, that's one I would definitely love to see. I also, when you mentioned BioShock too, I would love to see something done with BioShock, but I'm afraid they're gonna mess that one
I
up. So
believe Netflix has the rights. Whether they're
I've
going to use it,
seen, yeah, I've
I
seen
don't
that,
know.
but I don't know. Yeah, I've seen the fake mock-up posters and like the that are going around the internet,
Yeah.
and it looks really cool because it shows like the underwater and everything. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like they're gonna mess it up so bad. This is Netflix too, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the faith isn't really there, is it?
yeah,
But it only takes one. Um, I mean, I think Halo. For the Halo's on Amazon. I think Halo's an
they're on
Amazon
Paramount.
production. Paramount.
Paramount, yeah,
Paramount. Yeah.
yeah,
Because this is Paramount and Amazon. They're the ones that really spend the big bucks
yeah,
uh, at the minute.
yeah,
Netflix, being that they've been losing subscribers hand over fist for some time now.
yeah,
Almost anime, I think, is the only thing keeping Netflix afloat.
yeah. I mean, they're just
I mean,
dialing it in
so,
at this point, and they're just increasing prices on top of it. So, like, who wants
yeah,
that? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Pay more, and then pay even more if you don't want the ads.
yeah,
And it's like, I'm old. It's ads. I'm
yeah.
used to ads. Ads are okay. Used to have ads in the middle of a show. Maybe several sets of ads in the middle of a show.
Oh
So
yeah,
if you
oh
just put
yeah,
a few ads, if you just bookend the show with a few ads, I really don't care.
yeah,
If I can watch the show in peace, that's great. I'm still
yeah.
cool with that. I ain't paying that premium to get rid of that kind of ads. Start putting them back in the middle, and even though I grew up with that all the time, I'm glad that I don't have to now for the most part.
Sure.
Don't really want that back.
Yeah,
Although, I mean, since the writer's strike and then the actors strike in parallel with that last year for the best part of last year, it became blindingly obvious that we do need some kind of system because this streaming thing with no adverts being the way to generate a revenue so that people who actually make it can get paid
yeah,
rather than just it's that like one-off payment from Netflix going, here's a bag of cash, thank you for your thing, and then it's all theirs. None of those residuals coming back, no matter how many times we stream it, no matter how many views it gets.
right,
Where
right.
you used to have the syndication and all the different networks and everything else and the advertising and all the actors, writers, everybody involved would get some kind of little kickback,
Mhm.
for years. Well, essentially until the end of time.
Yeah,
And that's what helps people make a living. If they can't make a living doing it, they're going to stop doing it.
sure.
And then there's nothing for your streaming service. There's nothing for you to buy to put on it
Yeah,
because they can't. There are no actors or writers or directors anymore because it becomes financially just not viable, not a viable career.
yeah.
So
Well,
we need
that's when AI will step in, and
something.
everything will just be AI.
Yeah, AI,
That's all it's
AI
gonna
will do
be.
it.
The future's
One
just gonna be
day.
AI movies, AI scripts, all of it.
Sooner or later, inevitably. I think the first fully AI created movies being shown at some of the festivals, I think, this year. Uh, I think some people have already seen it. People are going to say it's bad because people are kind of somewhat anti AI
Right.
in that sense, which I understand to a degree.
Yeah.
Um, but I hope we can get some, real honest down the line sort of reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a curiosity because it's going to be a thing whether we like
Oh
it or
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
AI is coming, and there's so much good that there's so much potential good that it can actually do. I think when it comes to the arts, you can leave that to artists, but the good it can do, like in the medical realm and
Right,
things
right.
like that, and if it can just clean up everybody's damn paperwork and shit like that, and give more time to actually do the job or whatever, all that's great. But it doesn't need to create art. The whole point in machines is that they can do the work so that humans can be free to, do philosophy and art and shit like that. That would be my take on it
Yeah.
anyway. They
Well,
could,
that'd be a perfect world if that's what people would do with that free time. But
yeah. So, but I'm not quite sure it's gonna instantly just be a naked Austrian dude chasing me down the street. You know, I think we're
it's very
I think we're a
specific.
ways away. I'm not really in panic mode about that just yet.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And besides, even that guy wasn't that smart. He has to ask you first. Sarah
Yeah,
Connor, just say no.
yeah,
Even if
yeah,
you are, say no.
yeah. I know what
So
he's
as
selling.
AI advances, so that's my top tip for the day, kids. As
There you
AI
go.
advances, you know, there's always one with strangers. Stranger danger. You know, and
Hmm.
put stranger danger and drugs and just say no. Put that together.
Yeah,
Some large, scary-looking dude asks you, "Are you whatever?" And even if you are, just say no.
yeah,
And that's it. He's going to the next one down the phone book, and you're safe. It's fine. They're not all that.
yeah.
Unstoppable killing machine, my ass. Okay. Kids, this is Retro Rob of YouTube fame, gaming predominantly channel, but all things retro pop culture related, movies, toys. Uh, we said we'd do about an hour. It's been about an hour. So I'm gonna let you off the hook.
All right. I have one
I'm
question
gonna let
before
you
I go
go.
though. I have one question. I don't know your first name.
Oh, it's Johnny.
Johnny.
It's Johnny. It's John, and I hated Johnny.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not Jonathan. It is John.
Okay.
Uh, and I hated if when anybody ever called me Johnny for as a kid
Yeah.
for years and years and years. But I was in spent way too many years in really bad rock bands. And there was one time the a singer that we had at the time somehow always referred to me as Johnny, and I don't know why. For some reason, I just didn't mind it when he said it.
Okay.
I can't even explain why whatsoever. I didn't mind it to the point that it really sort of stuck,
Okay.
and, and then it just became and it cut from him saying it, other people and me not minding, so other people started saying it, and then it became thing, and then I started introducing myself as it, and it's just so it's kind of somehow it's evolved into I've become a Johnny.
Okay.
I don't really care, Johnny, it's fine, whatever.
Okay.
But um, yeah, it's John. I
Good
am
to
John.
know. Good to know, my friend. Good to know.
I'm John. So as always, as it is pretty much every week, I love doing this. It's great. This has been a blast.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I had a great time. Thank you.
it's been no problem. So again, kids, this is what I do. I just repeat it to ad nauseum so that people know. Retro Rob on YouTube. There's a few to choose from. You're looking for the one that looks like this. Right? Just a laid back, chilled, cool gaming videos.
Yep.
It's who knows what you're gonna get. Who knows what mood guy's gonna be in? Could be anything. Could be as right cutting edge, state of the art, Xbox 360 stuff.
Yeah.
or we could be going way back a little bit further than that. Who knows? But yeah, check him out. Do
Yeah.
yourselves a favor. check him out. Get some chilled out gaming chat. This will be super fun. I'm going to be here again this time next week.
Yep. Yeah, I try to catch your shows. I try to pop in for a comment and watch for, yep. So I'll see you on the next one.
But this will be up on my YouTube channel shortly, maybe not today, but tomorrow probably.
Okay.
And it'll be here to share and rewatch right here in the reels. But I've got to find a better way of ending these things.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you again for having me on, man. It's an honor, and I love doing these types of shows. So, and we'll do one again here in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's been a blast. Yes, I'll be watching Retro Rob's next video, which I believe dropped at some point tomorrow. Thursdays is a regular dump for you, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yep.
That's great. So, kids, check out Retro Rob. Keep watching. Keep checking Snikt and Snikt Division for all your latest pop culture gossip and needs. I'm trying to be more professional, and it doesn't work. It doesn't suit me whatsoever. So anyway, as the sun sets slowly in the west, I'll bid you a fond farewell. Till next week, kids. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.